Hello and welcome back to the Doug Duo. We've got Game 3 coming up shortly, and I don't know about you, Azale, but I am hoping for a barn burner here. I want to see us go to 5 games.
Personally, hoping for a real humdinger of a third game here. We'll see exactly what we can get. Dignitas, time to mix it up. Game 1 and 2, the drafts ain't working. We'll see what they want to change. And that's really what I am excited for. They are going to blue side. They chose red side for game number 2. So maybe that signifies that they want to go for more of a standard composition, look for some of those power picks, and really draft to what I believe at least is their strength, which is that 5v5 and the team coordination.
Yeah, and the coordination was good. Like, we saw team fights. Down 5, 6,000 gold. Go equal. 2-2, 3-3, 1-1. Like, the ability to do that was there. They just couldn't get the rest of it in. So now we get to see how much the bans change. Renekton, Tristana, Tom Kench. Those were Dig's bans every single game, followed up by Nautilus and Set basically as well. This time around, we'll see if the Lilia and Seraphine joins in with this Callista ban that 100 Thieves been putting in, or if there's going to be more differences. No, they are dropping maybe the Renekton or the Tristana to put in a Gnar ban.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. I mean, you can try to force your opponents to ban out one of those and first pick the other, or if you're willing to trade, that is also an option here. So we'll see if they want to ban out one and try to force the response ban of the other, or if they are going to be willing to trade something like Tristana for Renekton, maybe grab the Renekton up for Fake God, try to create a power point up in the top lane around that. Could be fairly effective.
Let's see what it's going to be. Taking a long time, too. They're really making sure they like all the bans they've got. Tristana will stay on the ban list, so Gnar replaces Renekton in Dignitas' bans.
If I'm 100 Thieves, I just don't ban Renekton, I think, and then I just trade Renekton for Hecarim, right? So, like, I actually think that that's totally fine. I feel like the Trist ban makes sense. You know, if you're not willing to first pick that, you don't want to give over 2 OPs, but it will be Renekton first pick. I think you have to keep that away from someday, but it means Hecarim's going to be going over. You could even just go Hecarim Kai'Sa or Kai'Sa Rel straight up. I like this one too a lot. I think that the Rel we have seen Dignitas aren't really that interested in. It's not likely to actually get taken away, so 100 Thieves probably could get it as their third pick if they want it, or even just let it fall to the second round once more. But again, 100 Thieves grabbing some really powerful team fighters. Dignitas, will they go towards the Nidalee and really commit to playing up towards that top side? That is a big question for me.
It's the Orianna takeaway here. Okay, gonna add that one into the mix. I'm looking at Soligo's all-time stats. I think it's one he's played a fair bit, but I'm actually very curious if it's not this year. It's number 3 for him all time. It's like number 4 or 5 for this year. So not a huge pick for him, but clearly a takeaway. They don't want Ryoma on his, like, it's his most played and his highest win rate of his popular champions. Like, I'm shocked that it took them to game 3 to get Ryoma off Orianna. Like, this to me would have been literally the first step of the draft is, who's the weakest performing member on the team? It's Ryoma. Okay, how can we get him uncomfortable and make him play weaker? It's Orianna ban. And the fact that they're like, you know, that they were so loath to make that happen surprised me. Udyr comes in. Now he is, I would say, you know, more of a magic damage jungler, but he's not the Renekton Nidalee that we've seen so much of. That was such a common, you know, pairing. So it still is some magic damage out of the jungle. It's still a good jungler overall. Gragas, likely a top laner, though can play support, of course.
Yeah, I am expecting it to be up towards the top side, but you could go into a situation where, all right, you leave Gragas here as a flex, and then if Dignitas ban out, you know, the Rel, and they ban out, you know, maybe the Set or whatever else, and you're saying, all right, well, now we're pinched a bit, then you can just put it down towards that support role, and that can be very nice. Going towards the Udyr here, of course, it is a tremendous amount of CC when actually paired up with that Renekton, so tank Gragas, stacking armor, you know, up on the top side, or at least stacking some early health up on the top side with the W damage reduction could really help to keep him alive, because you do have to be very, very scared about the pressure coming through from there. Of course, it's not as explosive as something like a Nidalee, I would say, but if you are pushed too far up, you will get locked down, you will get killed off, and the Udyr has the added advantage of being stronger in the 5v5.
Vayne and Thresh, the ban. Xayah actually left up as a backline option here. Again, a champion you very commonly see as an answer to something like Hecarim. So saying Vayne was actually more likely to be the scary pick here as the frontline burner. Keep in mind, 100 Thieves are going to play 3 tanks this game. Who he plays pretty much exclusively tanks. So yeah, frontline busting is the thing. And it's like, well, you're Xayah or Jinx then, as Azir is the takeaway as Ryoma's kind of next pick up.
And Vayne has actually been getting played more into Kai'Sa. Saw it a couple of times in the LEC recently. Have been seeing it, more as an answer there. Considered to be a pretty good matchup. And if you do expect a lot of frontline coming through, that can make a lot of sense. Zoe is something that we saw Ryoma play a lot last year. He hasn't actually picked it up at all since coming back into the LCS with 100 Thieves this year, but will be pretty comfortable, you would expect, on the pick. It's a bit of a mix-up, though, from what they have been looking for. Of course, if you can find a sleep, you can then dive in off that, utilizing the Hecarim and the Kai'Sa as the follow-up. The poke is pretty powerful, but the combination with the Orianna there obviously isn't going to be as powerful as you had last time around. And now I'm kind of curious, do you leave Rel up for Huhi? Because I do expect if Dignitas don't take it, that we would see 100 Thieves grab it.
So, fun fact, Zoe was Ryoma's first champion ever played in the LCS, and he played it against Closer and FBI, the old Golden Guardian lineup. Of course, that was back with Haunter and Keith on the lineup, and obviously Golden Glue in mid couldn't have played against himself, but brought it against his old team, sort of, kind of, his new team, whatever. Rel is coming through, of course. Xayah Rakan, very, very strong. Is going to be a fun lane to look at. I expect them to be advantaged in the 2-on-2, and Dardoch should be the faster clear, so can get to either side of the map to make that one play. So this tells me, Dignitas, you should be good in top side. You should be good in bot side. Mid's close enough. It's Ori, Zoe, whatever. Okay, Dardoch, which lane are you ganking? Which lane are you going to put ahead? And this tells me Dignitas should have the ability to play fast, play first, and take one side of the map.
Yeah, and to be able to actually compete in 5v5 going on to the mid and late stages of the game. They have some pretty explosive engage. Of course, that exists on the 100 Thieves side as well with that Rel plus Hecarim. But Orianna, Rakan, deadly engage there. If you can have the Renekton flanking, find that sort of a fight starter there from the Rakan, it can be incredibly powerful. I do always worry a little bit about some of the squishier builds that Rakans go for when you are playing into Rel, because oftentimes as you engage, the Rel can just press R and then stun you out of that, and you don't have the mobility to actually get out because you're locked down, and you don't have the durability to survive it. So I have seen it go bad for Rakans. We will see if Aphromoo can play around that and really find a way to circumvent the Rel and be able to reach some of these carries like the Zoe and the Kai'Sa.
Yeah, definitely watching for this one. Always got my eyes on how the supports can make it happen, because Guardian has been such a good rune for a lot of tanks, but without Aftershock, you get one shot very frequently, and you can occasionally see Aftershock on a Rakan. Obviously, with Alistar, you just play the ult and phase rush is good enough, but Rel never hops off. She's like, I'm Aftershock, I'm taking the front line, I don't have ways out. So yeah, I'm curious if the lockdown happens, right? And Rakan can't survive it. What kind of build he goes for? Is it Shurelia's? Is it, I've seen the Mandate, though probably not much in Pro, and we're gonna get ourselves onto the Rift. Let's see how it goes. 100 Thieves won the first 2 games. The first was a comeback. The second was kind of just domination. Dignitas have finally chosen blue side. They have picked a much more team fight focused composition, and we'll see now if they can fight back playing a more comfortable style on the blue side.
Yeah, this is where I believe their strengths really are. 100 Thieves did have a better early game statistically than Dignitas during the regular season, but 100 Thieves was not blowing people out in the early game, and as long as Dignitas, I think, are staying close in those early minutes, they should be competitive in the 5v5. They have the engage, they have the scaling this time, they have the ability to really compete here and show us what they can do on a more even footing.
And we are seeing several defensive wards on the Dignitas side, 2 in their bottom jungle. Right now, I believe only seeing 1 on the 100 Thieves side, and even that's just ward into recall into put your sweeper back on. Oh, they have 2 wards themselves. All right, we spotted them. Thank you, observers, for showing us the blue side wards. Really afraid of getting evaded upon. Gragas, Rel, honestly, pretty decent level 1 setup CC. Not a lot of easy ways out for a Xayah. You'd have to burn a flash. Either way, both sides are going to feel safe on their bottom jungle, so no invade pathing, as both junglers start on their own blue buffs, so they're going to get conventional clears. And honestly, Information bleeded on the 100 Thieves side. Someday is leashing, and that's kind of known, so they can at least surmise Closer started red buff, but Dardoch is fully leashless.
Yep. I think that makes sense, though. Yes, you give up a little bit of information by leashing the Hecarim, but Hecarim on a single target camp is just a lot slower than the Udyr is, so worthy trade.
Neo gonna get the shields, though. Honestly, Afro with the shields makes it really easy to keep Neo alive here. Second shield comes across, but now Hui's in a spot to get the auto attacks off. FBI gets some decent damage. Heal used as the Ignite was earlier on. Hui gets the pullback, but he takes a turret shot. And now Neo, chugging through his only potion, is healthy enough as who he's going to heal back up.
I feel like they kind of overcommitted on the chase. You know, after FBI gets pushed back, maybe they could have just immediately turned on to Huhi, because Huhi is still hitting Neo this entire time. And the trade went so long that he got his W back up. He had the remount for the flip back in, so Neo now playing at very low health. But you really can't afford to base this early on. Jungle pressure is going to be critical. Are either of the junglers going to divert their path to get down there quicker? It looks like for now, Dardoch's still continuing on just a 6-game clear.
Big trade for Big Guy, gets away from the body slam, means a couple hundred damage, comes across on a Sunday, another extra auto, puts him at 250. The turret shot back, though, ruins that trade. And Dardoch able to clean his 5th camp, no problem. We're going to have the Krugs taken. And okay, nice knock up there, pretty good damage. Holding back the flash forward, the shield and the flash away. Neo, no flash to chase. This is dangerous, but Dardoch is coming around. Afro should be safe. Can they find the rest, though? Neo needs another Q, but it's going to be a while. Doesn't have his own route. Closes here. Be careful. This is first blood. He didn't even need the jungler. Just killed himself, and now Dardoch has to flash away, but Ryoma's in the chase. He's got an extra flash. He can get the sleep. Dardoch is not getting away. Oh, this is a complete tragedy as Dignitas are running for dear life. Ryoma's going to be stunned, but he can still chase. Dardoch, he's going to get a shield. He's going to get some movement speed. The flash follow. Ryoma gets kill number 2, so Leo to flash away, and 100 Thieves are slaughtering this game.
It's a disaster for Dignitas down in that bottom lane. Just kind of over chase, lost sight of the fact that not only could Hecarim be there, but Neo is chasing into the brush with like 100, 150 health. Huhi able to knock him down himself there. It's just the overcommitment. They're getting these good engages onto FBI, but they just continue chasing past Huhi, ignoring the fact that this support is going to be doing significant amounts of damage. You are level 2. The auto attack damage matters here from Huhi, and as they chase in, it's remount, flip, auto, dead, just straight up. As you said, didn't even need the jungler. The fact that Ryoma arrives, takes one flash, flashes after him, sleep perfectly placed to block the entire corridor, has the other stolen flash to continue the chase. There's just no escape here for Dardoch. And Saligo trying to move down to protect him, it just forces him to use another summoner. So terrible start despite some aggressive trading that went okay for Dignitas. The extended play is going heavily in the favor of 100 Thieves. At the very least, Huhi is the one that got that kill, so could be worse. FBI was the one getting first blood, I believe, last game.
Yeah, and FBI got his pickaxe recall off and caught pretty much the entire wave. As Neo and Afro shoved that wave, and they're like, okay, maybe we did. Oh, we denied nothing. Okay, he's up 8 CS and an assist and 15 AD in this lane. This is immediately tragic. 100 Thieves have complete control over the duo. And good luck finding the rest of the way through this one as Ryoma gets a Prowler's Claw from a minion wave. We were right after all. He is getting Prowler's Claw. Haha, it just took us a while. Obviously, that was Soligo in the previous game, but it still goes through as, mid lane's under fire. And all right, we'll see if Dardoch can turn something around with Udyr ganks down the line, but this is looking so good for 100 Thieves in game 3. There's the Prowler's Claw. Nice try on the sleep.
Yeah, that was pretty clever. Would have been nice if he could have actually connected on it. Both junglers down here. This fight will mean a lot if it does
knock up. Decent damage on a Huhi. Closer can no way get in, but how about with Dardoch? Will they take the play? They find a stun on FBI. The root's going to be available in a second, but Dardoch is running out of health. He's ignited. Huhi may be traded. He should die to the ignite. One more tick. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. 13 health. He stays alive. And now Ryoma's here as well. Oh, it's getting bad to worse, to worse, to worse. Dignitas stuck in the turret. 2 more kills coming soon, I think.
Yeah, Saligo, you got to TP. You got to defend them. I feel like it's GG if they get dove, but they're just, okay, now he's TP. So this is one of those situations that, for me, are so frustrating where, you know, the early fight goes bad, and then as a result, you have slightly less gold, and then you lose the next fight barely again. You know, you pointed out to 15 AD. Huhi lived with 13 health.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple attacks with 15 additional AD. Would have easily been a kill, but that's the difference of that previous fight. And that is a perfect example of how League of Legends games can snowball out of control, where even if it's an evenly played fight, it's no longer on an even field. Dardoch goes in here, gets the stun, but takes so much damage moving through. As the Kaisa Q is not split with anything, it is all fully targeted on him. Huhi goes in for the engage. Even if he went down, taking the jungler out there is a worthwhile trade, and they're able to stay around long enough to even force out that TP. So 100 Thieves looking really good on this bottom side. They can continue to play through it because they are winning. At the very least, Dignitas have fallback patterns. As long as the mental stays strong, you will have a chance in this game. You have some very powerful 5v5. You have scaling across your roles. This is not the same situation as last time.
Is Fake God in danger? He was winning top side, right? A completely uninterrupted top lane 1v1 got him a momentary 15 CS lead. It'll still be 10 after the wave goes down. But Closer's here to play the 2-on-2. Nice! Ooh. Dash away. Yeah, you pretty much lock in the direction of the Hecarim charge once you start the auto. So it just kind of gets pushed upwards, doesn't really care. Out he goes, no problem. Now the re-engage could be nice, though, as Afro's going to be with a squad.
They're not spawning.
See him. Does someday die. No Aftershock, right? Only a tier, no tank stats whatsoever. Renekton gonna be the first one to pull aggro, gets a shield. Good to flash the shockwave. More damage across, gets away, gets to drop the turret aggro. Soligo takes the turret shot as Fake God drops it though, and it's a 1-for-1 despite the nice looking dive from Dignitas.
I still think it's worth, because you are denying the wave to someday. I think it's a worthwhile kill. Also the fact that Soligo gets it, I think you would rather have the gold on that Orianna than on the Hecarim on the other side. But they got pretty lucky with the timing, because if Closer had actually spotted them there, they would not have been able to go for it. Yeah. And now Dardoch may be out too far. He's in trouble.
Damage on Ryoma. Flash away from Dardoch. Now both his flashes have been to get away from Ryoma. He hasn't gotten enough done. 0-2-0 on his scoreline with Ninja Tabby or Plated Steel Caps now. This entire time, by the way, FBI has been alone in bottom lane. This is now 2, maybe 3 waves crashing the turret. He's getting at least a second plate here, and that's a huge deal.
All right, here it is one more time. Ulti pop. Now the aggro is held there by Fake God. Soligo, though, is being focused down by Closer, and Fake God cannot tank any additional tower shots, and it just goes right on to Soligo. They're helping them to burn it down. But yeah, I absolutely hate that Rift Herald call. You just died on top side. Your mid lane just died, so you have no mid lane priority. And you call up your bot laner to go for this Herald when you're already hard losing bot lane, giving up even more experience and gold.
Yep, well, supports are here. 4v4 as Gragas clears the wave and comes down level 8 onto him. Afro going to find a bit of a slow. Ryoma holding on to a flash, which makes it very easy, but Ryoma is out of mana entirely. There is no mid laner in this fight. It's a smite fight at best. Here comes the dive. Fear onto a couple. Big damage to the Fake God. One already down is the Orianna. Fake God trying to find the re-engage as Ryoma just going to put in the shots. Herald goes over the red squad. A second kill as well, and Dignitas are just bleeding out faster and faster. Dardoch is going to drop as well. He has no escape path whatsoever. A 3-0 team fight. The Herald picked up as well. Dignitas do not know when to quit.
It is just an absolute slaughter here. It feels like the mental has broken for Dig. I do not understand the back-to-back Herald calls there whatsoever. You are not in a winning position on the top side. You know, the first Herald call, Soligo is dead, and they go straight to Herald after that. Ryoma's mid lane, right? They're going to be able to contest you. They push you back there, and the fact they called up Neo just puts him so much further behind. Then they send Neo down to bot lane. They just decide, hey, let's just try it again. You know, Afro's not even 6. It's not like they have any sort of explosive engage. Renekton ult isn't up. Orianna ult isn't up. You know, in what world are you going to win this 5v5 when the key ultis are available for your opponents and you have none, right? It just doesn't really make sense here. It's such an overforce for Dignitas, which just really smells like, you know, desperation, tilt, whatever you want to call it. And the fact that FBI is able to roam up here and be involved in yet another kill. He's got a full item completed. Look at the inventory for Neo. This game just feels like it's over.
Kraken Slayer to pickaxe. Yeah, that's you know, the level 1 RPG character to someone who actually, you know, did all the dailies for a couple of months and's got purples. It's like I started with my mining axe. Okay, a flash, and Soligo's still going to get brought back in. Stunned away as well. Then a 400 will stay alive as Ryoma couldn't find the rest of it, but this is a very, very long road ahead. A grindy victory if Dignitas ever get there.
The frustrating thing for me is that, yes, Dignitas were behind, but before that Herald stuff, you really weren't that far behind. You know, it was like 1 or 2K. And one good 5v5 with the composition that they actually have a lot of playmaking, right? With the Rakan Orianna, one good Renekton flank, you can maybe come back into the game. But when you abandon ship on bot lane, you're putting FBI extremely ahead, and you opt into a 4v4 without your ultimates available. There's just no way to reasonably win that fight, and 100 Thieves are going to take full advantage. They are just destroying them. And with this gold lead, with the composition on their side, which also has strong scaling, it's really hard to imagine what Dignitas are going to be able to get done. It looks like you're going to lose bot tower. They already lost mid tower. They're already down 4,000 gold. The only dragon in the game is on 100 Thieves' side. It's feels like it's all over them, but they're crying.
It's a little doomed. Early smite for Dardoch means a barrel steal? Yep. No. Nice smite, Dardoch. It's the second early smite this series. This one obviously not as useful, not as meaningful, but had a chance at Baron over in game 1. And okay, the Phoenix Puff manages to grab some of the small Krugs, which to be fair are most of the gold of the camp, but a lot of XP lost, as Someday claimed most of it. 4 plates taken. I believe every single one has been solo for FBI. Not a single one has been shared with anyone else on his team. So he's massive. No one's in the lane, by the way. Like, when there were 3 plates left, the whole squad had to recall back, like, behind bot lane tier 2. There you go. There's the 5th plate. There's 400 gold going to FBI. He's massive. He's almost doubling the gold of Theo.
Like, as well.
We can just, like, keep mentioning ways that 100 Thieves are winning, but 100 Thieves are winning.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's level 9 to level 7, that he has this enormous of a gold lead. Kaisa is one of the most snowbally marksmen in the game when she is playing from ahead. Her ability to utilize that gold is really, really powerful. To follow up on the Renekton, or rather the Rel and the Hecarim, diving in, apply the plasma, you follow up, you can assassinate people in the back line. Working quickly towards that second item, has just about as many components towards the second as Neo has towards the first. So
yep.
It's going to take a miracle now for Dignitas. We'll see if they can find any sort of incredible engage. Pretty much feels like it has to be Rakan plus Orianna. You know, you find a multi-man engage into a multi-man shockwave. Maybe you have a hope from that point, but barring that, I think it's going to be 100 Thieves all the way.
Turret plates fall. Looks like we had at least 10 picked up for 100 Thieves. Maybe 3 or 4 on the Dignitas side. Not to mention the 1,000 gold from the turrets themselves that dropped, and the 150 from first turret. Back on the map, 100 Thieves playing top side with their very fed AD carry. 33 CS advantage. Fate got an Alpha though, finding something on the other side of the map though. That's actually pretty good. They get to push away Someday's Gragas. Pretty standard build of tier into tank ever since the mana cost nerfs on Q. But this turret's not going down just yet. FBI though getting some pretty free hits, and no one is willing to defend this one. So both teams are bleeding one wave of farm as they've got various strong sides here. But mid lane tier 2 could be Dove.
Yeah,
here we go. Smite, charge forward. There's the pullback. Every single button played for the combo. Nicely done, nicely rehearsed. Absolutely no counterplay. Down goes the mid laner.
Really clean stuff there from 100 Thieves, just continuing to push forward. Yes, Dignitas is trading back on that bottom side, but all the gold is going to FBI. All the experience is going to FBI. And this is just so much more valuable than what their opponents are getting. They've got the protection here for him. He's going to be way ahead of the pace. You just look at the gold lead he has. You know, nearly 2,000 ahead of the richest member on the Dignitas side.
Rama sees a homie and is like, all right, never mind. We're done. We're out. That's fine. No big worries down there. 0-3-0 for Dardoch. Going to be a rough one. Not entirely his fault. Just a little bit late to every single fight and chased down at the end. Just, you know, clearly Closer has gotten more done, more of the objectives, the Herald control, mostly from top lane pressure, but either way, just waiting for Neo to slowly catch up. Level 8 to 10. I know you've mentioned the XP difference before, but still seeing it. It's rough. 4-0 and 2 in the Hecarim, though. Closer's been pretty much everywhere, even taking away Dardoch's camps. FBI still just gets solo lane XP and gold, though in this case Hecarim shares it because of the proximity. But it's time for the second Rift Herald, and FBI is there to help knock that one down too.
Yep, just going to be looking at those inner ring of towers now. Probably go for the tier 2 mid potentially. They've already gotten all the outers here, so they can use this second Rift Herald and just try to crack those inner towers and potentially set up for another dragon. Begin working towards what would be either a Cloud or a Mountain Soul here, given that they already have the Ocean Dragon and are going to be picking up this Infernal next.
And now let's see what the gameplay is. 35 seconds on Dragon. You know at this point you start sending your members down to the side. Now if 100 Thieves think there's no play to be had, FBI got a flash early but can still be easily charmed. Hecarim under the turret is a fear onto 3, and is that going to be enough? FBI's running away. Fake God just taking the turret the entire time, never walks away. They had a 3v1, but Closer was there, and Someday teleported Aphromoo. Jumps over the wall, he is going to die. Ryoma finds Neo, good flash, gets away from Shockwave. Then here comes the rest of the play onto Afro. Maybe the Blast Cone's there in time. Flashes to it, but are you going to live? You flash to delay your death. You burn Flash, you're still gonna die. What was the point of wasting the 5-minute long cooldown that you could use in a later game team fight? There's a nice setup from Huhi. Neo, not long for the world. Ignited, drops as well. The shield is already on Dardoch, so no target there. They got a Scuttle Crab and they're bleeding kills.
Yeah, they are running. Oh, the sleep lands, insult to injury.
Yep, that man is dead as well. Goodbye to Dardoch. 0, 4, and 0 likely to be the scoreline. Cask somehow pulls him back. Great aim from Someday. 12-1 in kills, and Dignitas just have no chance.
12-1. They got the dragon. They get it all. Felt like that dive on the top side was maybe the last hope for them. You know, even just morale-wise, they kind of needed that to work. The fact that Closer was there, you know, had the 3-man fear with the ultimate to peel for FBI, keep him alive. Closer is 7-0-2. He is so fed on this Tech Rim now. You are never going to be able to kill this guy off in any realistic situation.
But at least there's some damage in the cross-map play. Fake God going to go ahead and attack this top lane turret. 6,500 gold deficit's going to become only 6,000 when this drops. Still practically insurmountable, but you hope for the miracle play all the same. FBI currently flashless. Shockwave on just the one item right now. We've got the Leandries coming through for Orianna, the somewhat slow burn of the play. You are against triple tank. It's understandable for that regard, but you do need to one-shot the backline and have a chance at winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just gets so difficult for Soligo now with Hecarim this ridiculously fed. You can just run straight at the carries, and even if you aren't killing them off, you're pushing them back out of range of your carries. And, FBI is going to melt through Dardoch and Fake God incredibly quickly. It becomes very, very difficult to play from that sort of situation. Zoe as well, when you have full control, it's super easy to find poke. And it's going to be looking like a potential trade here. Dignitas are going to start basing, so they will come back. But, I mean, the inhibitor is gone. Like, that's just a guarantee at this point. So we'll see if they can actually get an inhibitor tower or anything up on that top side. But I kind of doubt it. I think it's going to take Fake God too long to do.
They're crashing Nexus turrets. This is going to be one Nexus turret gone for sure. I don't think they can end the game against the other Nexus turret unless they find a really, really nice team fight, but they're certainly trying. Sub 20, Nexus turret cracked. I honestly can defend, just say, yeah, you know what, take the inhib, let us get the farm. Maybe we'll bleed you the Baron. Oh, that is Dardoch catching a sleep. Why walk forward? You are never winning the team fight, and you chose to die for absolutely nothing. That one's on him. The rest I can forgive, but at this point, Tilt is taking over, and Dignitas literally giving away kills.
I mean, he's trying to delay recalls, right? Fake God stopped his recall, so I think the call is, all right, stop the base, maybe I can get the tower, right? And that's why he's moving forward, but you got to walk that line very carefully. You're so far behind that, you step that little bit too far forward and you will just die. That's what ended up happening. Couldn't delay the recalls. They lose the tower. They lose the kill. 13-1, one of the most one-sided games, if not probably the most one-sided game in the LCS this year. And it's happening here in playoffs.
Yeah, and I mean, against the 4th and 5th seeds. And if you looked at the first two games, these teams were pretty close. Game 1, a comeback. Game 2, okay, draft gap. Game 3 is just, yeah, mental boom seems to be what's happening here under this one. Congrats, of course, to 100 Thieves. It is a little unsatisfying to see Game 3 not be as close as it could have been, of course, but as Dardoch keeps spamming the passive-aggressive Lux emotes, as he's tilted, 100 Thieves, we can celebrate them. The fact that, look, they did stick to their guns. They said, look, Ryomo's the future of this team. He has been getting better, I would say, over the course of time. Obviously, the reasonably clean 3 over Dig is well played. Closer kind of getting some redemption arc as well, and the fact that I think his second and third game were very good.
I mean, this game is monstrously good.
Yeah.
And I would say that, to me, Ryoma has never been the problem. It's just more that 100 Thieves have needed people to step up and offer aggression. We'll see if they can pick off Ryoma.
Kill number 2. Nope. Ult stopwatch. Huhi re-engage. We've got FBI there. 113, 114. Make it 115 as the squad runs away yet again. Gold leads at work. That stopwatch makes sure nothing happens. Finally. All right. Fake God got to play League of Legends. He is part of both and the only kills his team has gotten as he slays one more member. But hey, it's 2-16. It's time to run for the free Baron.
Yep, 100 Thieves is going to be able to get Baron, and it's just been nice to see people stepping up for 100 Thieves, giving them the go buttons, giving them the windows of opportunity to kind of create the aggression that they were lacking, and that was something that people were criticizing them for. When you look back to Game 1, Someday on the Gnar was so damn good. He was creating plays for 100 Thieves constantly, Game 2, it was a lot about the team fights, about the combos that they're able to pull off here. Game 3, Closer was just in the right place, the right time, every single time. Felt like he was always beating Dardoch to the punch and has been having just a fantastic performance. Here again, Dignitas going for the picks. It's really all they can do in this type of situation, but they're so far behind. FBI is just shredding through them. You can see Fake God flashing in, is able to get a shutdown, get a kill back for the squad, but of course it is 4 for 1, 3 for 1 rather, on that trade, and the Baron as well going the way of 100 Thieves. So closing on that 10,000 gold lead here, we're only about 23 minutes in.
Yeah, geez. The pace at which 100 Thieves are dismantling Dignitas is actually pretty startling here. So yeah, crossing 23 minutes right now. Next dragon spawns in a moment. The first dragon was killed pretty late into this one, but an easy Mountain Drake when they want it. In no world do 100 Thieves need Mountain Soul. They likely end before the 4th dragon would ever spawn. But with the Red Bull Baron on, they're knocking down top lane tier 2. We know there's 2 more inhibs that can be attacked as Renekton cleans up bot lane for a moment and rejoins the team. Waiting now for the first turret dive as Rama tries to find some poke.
I think this game ends during the Baron buff. I would be really surprised if it doesn't, with this much of a lead this early, with the bottom lane inhibitor already down and pressure coming in from all 3 waves. It feels so hard to defend. Zoe lands asleep on the right person, the game is just going to end, and we'll see if they even need it. 100 Thieves closing in.
Rayama over the wall, finds a stun arrow, cannot get the ulti. FBI dodges it with just the move speed, but now into the back line comes the galloping horse. Closer goes in for Dardoch, can't find the rest of the kill. Big root from Neo, though. This re-engage isn't enough. Closer finds one, traded back, though. Closer, stunned in turret range, has to ult away. And Dignitas find at least an equal fight in the 5v5 under the turrets, but the rotate to mid lane, there's already a wave. Good macro by 100 Thieves to shepherd them in, and some of the TPs back in full health. Means it's time to siege for the Nexus as well. The wave is there, Baron buff is on. They can close out the wave, but it's back to top side. Unfortunately, with the extra minions, with the good waves being pushed in, Dignitas can't be everywhere at once, and these will still knock down both other inhibitors off of an equal team fight.
And FBI, he's the biggest problem, and if you don't kill him off, it almost doesn't matter what else you are doing. He is so ridiculously strong. The triple inhib is completed. Looks like that bottom lane inhib will respawn here quickly. Yeah, because of a pretty good fight from Dignitas, the game will not end, but it is still so far in the favor of 100 Thieves. It's incredibly difficult to even leave your base.
So we snapshot it right now. 10,000 is the gold difference with double inhibs down, and the only objective to play for is this one mountain trade. Baron's going to spawn before the inhibs come back up, so that's going to be a freebie, and that's going to be, probably that picking up and closing the game out. But I'm always curious, how much gold can be bled back, because with the supers pushing in, if you're not directly sieging, since Baron's coming out right now, and that power play only 2,500, if you're not directly sieging, it is money being earned back by the defending team.
I agree. I think in a situation this extreme, though, I think you don't have to wait for Baron, right? Like, there's only one Nexus tower. You are so far ahead. Just walk down, kill the 3rd inhibitor, and then walk up to that one Nexus tower with your 10,000 gold lead and 3 lanes of supers and end the game, right? There's really nothing that Dignitas should be able to do to stop that. There's no real infrastructure left in the base, and you're so much weaker. With the added power of all the supers and the minions that they'll have to be wave clearing, there's no way they should be able to deal with 100 Thieves.
9.5k plus 2 waves of supers, as you're saying, Azael, looking to end the game right now. Grab the Drake, because you might as well. It doesn't take much time. Here comes the engage. Huge 7-3. Oh, my word. The cask there as well. You are right, Azael. They didn't need anything else but the willingness to go for the fight. It's going to be 4 picked up as a trade of 1. Make it the 5th. Dardoch, the last to stand. Closer ends the game. Legendary. The Bud Light Ace, a 26-minute win, and it started from the very, very beginning. 100 Thieves in complete control. The 3-0 victory, at least a smile and a laugh on Dardoch's face as we say farewell to Dignitas for the spring split. They will carry over their record into the rest of the year, but 100 Thieves will survive in the battle for a spot at MSI.
An absolute shellacking from 100 Thieves, crushing through in that final game. Each subsequent game looked more and more in their favor. Game 1, they had to come back. Game 2, they were fully in control the whole time. And Game 3 did not look even close. They were in an entirely different league as far as the play, as far as the coordination that they were actually demonstrating here in this final game. A disappointing exit to the playoffs for Dignitas, but clearly the better team did win here today. I think, Dignitas changed up their drafts too little too late. I think what was their best draft potentially was their worst performance. And as a result, 100 Thieves, they just destroyed them.
Yeah, the one-time Fake God was given a good lane matchup. He actually did pretty well in it, right? Ultimately said, we're going to play Gnar weak side, and someday abused him, and the rest of the squad couldn't quite get the rest of it over the line, and someday had big performances, and then he got his good Renekton, and bot lane just fell apart so rapidly. I mean, well done to FBI and who he to play the 2-on-2 very well. Don't get me wrong. Those kills were all without intervention. It's when it happened later on that it got really, really pear-shaped, but still, well played 100 Thieves. A deserved 3-0. Good job to them. And again, we bid farewell to Dignitas until the summer split starts with the records carrying over. Now, that's going to do it for us. That is it for the series. That's all. But on the other side, we're going to have Latigris talk with FBI, so stay tuned for that.
Many of us are working from home and adjusting to new coworkers. Coworkers who borrow supplies and always interrupt meetings. A gift can help. And when you use your MasterCard, you have security benefits that keep you protected, so your purchase ends up in the right hands or mouth. And your staff can start something priceless.
Welcome back to the mid-season showdown. 100 Thieves fans rejoice under the 3-0 scoreline. We've got bot laner FBI here for the Verizon post-game interview. Now, since your match against C9 just last week to now, what adaptations did you make for this matchup against Dignitas?
I would say versus C9, we expected them to play a certain style in draft, but it didn't really go according to plan. And I think for this week's prep, I think we just kind of worked on what worked for us and not really worried too much about what they were going to do. And I think it worked well for us today.
Obviously, there's some specifics of a game plan you have to focus on with every single matchup, but for the past few weeks, we have heard from multiple 100 Thieves members about how you're all trying to rediscover your play style in this current meta. What progress do you feel has been made since that roster change, and what do you feel are the strengths of 100 Thieves today?
Yeah, I think after the roster change, we still had a lot to work on. I think as of 4, we were all struggling a bit, and we weren't playing very well, and I think Tommy coming in, Raima, gave us a breath of fresh air, and I think he's done a really good job in integrating into our team, and his play has just honestly improved a lot over the weeks that he's had, so I'm pretty sure he's going to keep getting better.
Even what we saw from all of the individuals on 100 Thieves in this particular series was a bit more towards the stompy side from beginning to end. Dignitas did make some changes in their draft towards a more team fight oriented composition, bringing some of those early plays down to your lane. What adaptations do you feel that you and the team had to make to what Dignitas was trying to bring to the table to give you such an established lead on 100 Thieves side?
Honestly, throughout the series, I feel like we didn't really have to make too many changes. They kind of gave us all the champions that we had from the previous game, so we just ran it back, and yeah, it worked out pretty well for us. So I would say that they actually didn't change too much. They changed like a couple picks, but I think our comps were a lot better in all 3 games.
Very convincing from start to finish, but as invigorating as a 3-0 can be, you are still under the pressure of elimination. Do you feel a mentality shift when you're approaching the best of 5s here in the lower bracket compared to when you had a second life?
No, I wouldn't say so. I think best of 5s in general put a lot more pressure on everyone, and I feel it as well in a playoff series, and I don't really care about the extra life or anything. I think when we get into best of 5, we just focus on the series, and obviously there's more pressure, but I think we'll perform pretty well for next week.
Well, speaking of that level of focus, the next contender in your path is TSM. Closer has been vocal in multiple interviews about not considering them a threat prior to playoffs. How do you feel they stack up against yourselves here and now?
Honestly, I think TSM is a pretty strong team. They had a bit of a shaky series versus EG, I would say, but their series versus TL showed that they can compete with the best, and we kind of got stomped by C9, so I think we're kind of looking for a redemption arc, and we're looking to take out TSM.
Well, everybody in the audience loves a good redemption arc. FBI, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you.
Once these Thieves power up to 100, there ain't no stopping them. Let's go ahead and continue to cool things off on the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, the Tigers. Welcome to the Bud Light Breakdown. And if 100 Thieves wants a redemption arc, fellas, I would say 3-0 is a pretty good start to that redemption arc. The third game being the most dominant of them all. And honestly, have to take a moment to recognize the fact that Yasuo was the only person to come in top of the day and predict that swift 3-0. Said it could have been done in many different fashions, and it did hold true. So kudos to you, my friend. Thank you for that insight. We might bring you back on the desk for future series just for that.
Analysis from him.
He had inside knowledge. Closer told him. Closer told him.
True.
Yeah, Closer told him that they were gonna get Kaisa Hecarim Rel 3 games in a row, dude. That was how Mo knew.
Yeah, how did he know? He's got that access we don't have. Either way, as we speak about the dominance of this game, I don't think there's much to do but roll into it. Because from minute 1, it was 100 Thieves racking up the kills with plays across the map.
You know, when you watch these plays, you really wonder what Dignitas' mental was at. Because Azael was pointing out that the mental was boom, and it really showed with the lack of coordination here. And then once this happens, when you give double buffs over to the Zoe, when you flash away, and not only do you give the double buffs, but you also bring her back to your lane and lose mid lane's flash, it's pretty over from this point onwards.
It's rough. Like, I'm always a proponent of small victories, small wins. And from Dignitas' side, pushing forward after the initial play fizzled, and you got to see Hecarim find a great engage. In this case, you know, who he's doing amazing this game, this series, by the way. I felt like 100 Thieves just preyed upon that. Dignitas overforcing. And Ryoma had a great game, by the way. Not only in the previous replay, but that was a fantastic bubble that he was able to get on Dardoch.
Yeah, there was some struggles by Ryoma in the Oriana games, but he really turned it around with the Zoe performance. And overall, I'd say like this is one of those series where it's a little weird to try and talk about the takeaways, because I feel like as much of the story is about 100 Thieves playing a lot better, a lot of it is about the drafting. And, you know, like I was kind of memeing the Kaisa Hecarim Rel 3 games in a row. Like, it's such a gnarly combo to be able to just destroy people with this kind of stuff. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes from here. Actually, I think it was Alistar in game 1. I should correct myself.
The rest was correct.
Either way, like there is insane comp advantage, it felt like, for 100 Thieves this series, and I liked how dominant they showed they are on it. And I think if the one thing you can say is like they showed that if you're going to give us the power picks, we will absolutely run you over with them. And it's going to have to force TSM to really look at these games and be like, which of these did we feel like were the biggest issues to then try and subtract away, whether through bans or takeaways.
Yeah, Mark, I think in the context of the entire playoffs, the takeaway is this incredible importance on draft. TSM lost plenty games to Team Liquid because of the draft. We have seen Cloud9's incredible flexibility as well. So the top teams are drafting much better. 100 Thieves, when they look clean, they have really solid drafts. There has to be a higher priority in picking solid compositions with powerful picks, as opposed to these kinds of niche comfort picks. There's just too much power available right now in these compositions. And if you're not acknowledging and picking it synergistically, you're already at a big disadvantage.
Yeah, my thing is always, at least for me, outside of the Cloud9 100 Thieves series and playoffs, it just goes to show how great best of fives are. Because I liked the initial strategy from both teams, but whoever ends up executing, whoever's the cleaner team, and for me, 100 Thieves are just objectively the better performing team, of course. Then it is so difficult within like the 10 or so minutes in between games to upheave your entire preparation, right? To try and nail down is like, because you can never really talk about the core issues. You can only really say what are going to be the band-aids to like a lot of the problems that we were having here. So for Dignitas, yeah, that's going to be hard. If your initial strategy just simply isn't working and it's just too difficult of a composition to run, then you can just see it gets worse and worse. That's what we saw yesterday with Evil Geniuses when it wasn't working for them versus TSM. Their last draft was probably the worst I've seen all year, and that's mostly because like you just have to change everything. So that's why I love the best of fives. You get some crazy adaptations and, you know, clear struggle points.
I think you solve it with your prep. You write down what are the power picks in each role, right? And then you take that little notebook to your draft, and then you say, oh, no, they have too many of these. We shouldn't allow this. So you got to write those down so you don't forget that these compositions win games.
Good news. Good news. We did some of that homework for you. Our stats team dug up those presence stats after game number 2. Just scroll back in the VOD. You can find those. Boom, your prep is done. Now, I know we did just watch a slew of plays that put 100 Thieves squarely in the driver's seat, but you truly knew it was done and dusted when Huhi came in with the big engage, delivering the win and the Grubhub dub for 100 Thieves.
Great patience, too, because he didn't go for it yet. He didn't have enough damage. Ryoma didn't have enough mana. He waited for Someday to be a part of the play, gets an amazing 2-man engage into closer following up. Hui's been fantastic this series, and I think that one really capped it off for me.
Now, as we watch this,
you know what else he did that was really nice there? He snuck back to the lane to hit level 6 so that he can engage with a fat ultimate as well, because he was 5 when the play started. So presence of mind, how much experience he needed to make it happen.
You love to see it. You know what else you love to see? Grubhub delivering the win and our midseason showdown. And if you're a 100 Thieves fan, it's time for a celebratory snack. Download the Grubhub app and use the offer code SPRING to score 20% off your order of $10 or more. And there is an added bonus, rather. Share your playoff predictions with us on Twitter using the hashtag GHLCS for a chance to win a $50 Grubhub gift card. Now, while Huhi delivered the dub for 100 Thieves, our player of the series has to be Someday, taking on his opponent in the top lane and holding it down for 100 Thieves all series long.
Loved it. Loved it. It started with him getting that love, too. The resources were going straight top lane. They gave him Rift Heralds. They gave him plates and ganks. And guess what happened? He gives you wins. I thought he was not only keeping, Fake God down in the 1v1, but also in the team fights and the replays we've been showing all day long. He's been insanely impactful. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I think especially Game 1 and Game 2 on the Gnar into the GP matchup that really just threw a wrench in everything that Dignitas was trying to do. Game 3 was an absolute shellacking, and he was playing weak side on the Gragas, so, obviously the numbers didn't look quite as dominant there as compared to some of his teammates who were running over the game, but I give him a lot of credit for being, I think, the biggest factor in the tougher win that they picked up in Game 1 and in Game 2.
Yeah, and I think if I were to take a step back, I think, whenever you see the team getting better and the team a lot more coordinated, some days suddenly a part of the plan, then everyone looks much better. Like for me, it was a struggle between Someday and Huhi, who performed really well in the back half, and I thought this was just setting up really strong fights alongside closer. So the benefit is 100 Thieves as a team has gotten better. And I think 100 Thieves feel more coordinated and know what comps they want to play. That seems to me like the driver to success in the next series.
Yeah, the whole of 100 Thieves looking better after having fallen down to Cloud9 in the upper bracket. But after that slick 3-0 from 100 Thieves, they live another day in the lower bracket. Let's take a look at it. They'll play TSM on Sunday, and we'll see our lock-in champs Team Liquid take on Cloud9 on Saturday. Now, before those matches next weekend, though, we know, or rather you know, we've got more league content coming your way. We've got Proving Grounds. It begins this Tuesday and will carry on until the weekend. Be sure to tune in and support our growing talent. Now on Tuesday, the dive drops bright and early at 5 a.m. I will not be up, but I'll watch it later in the day. Now with a new episode of This or That to follow on Thursday, and of course we'll see you back here at the LCS on Saturday for more of the mid-season showdown. Before we go, of course I've got to get your thoughts on the two matchups that we have ahead of us. We have not seen Cloud9 and Team Liquid play in a week, and so I'm curious what you guys think might be happening there, tinkering behind the scenes. Crumbs, let's go with you first.
This weekend has turned me more of an elitist than I was before. All my eyes, all my effort, all my hopes of solid League of Legends play rest on Cloud9 TL. I think we're going to have the best League of Legends we've had all year long in this match. And the best thing is, they're going to rematch as well, because there's no way the lower bracket can take down TL or C9.
I mean, maybe that second part is true. I'm actually looking forward to the TSM versus 100 Thieves matchup for a couple of reasons. One, I bet it's going to be really, really scrappy. And two, it's a bit of a revenge story, a little bit about Golden Guardians players now at 100 Thieves going up against the TSM org that kept them out of World's contention. And I mean, I know TSM's roster has changed a lot since then, but I still would like to see them get a little bit of revenge back at the TSM org.
And Crumb's elitism is justified. I'll justify it this time around.
Yeah.
I think we've got some quality games. Like the Team Liquid versus C9, even though at this very moment I may flip-flop, I'm erring towards Team Liquid. Fudge has had some insane games. And so whenever we go back to the series and say that there is a top difference, Fudge has actually just risen time and again in people's top lane tier rankings. And so some say he should have gotten player of the series. I thought it was close last time C9 performed. It's hard. So definitely put that on your calendar. That's for damn sure.
Put it in your calendar if it isn't already. It's on the weekends. It's hard to miss. But again, it is our top 4 teams from the regular season that still remain in the bracket when it comes to the postseason. But that is going to do it from us here today. So on behalf of myself, the casters, and the entire remote broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week for more LCS. Until then, stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other. Good night.